metade, metade.
Hi there, I'm Drix. I'm a cognitive linguist and the CEO of Harmony Co., which is a bilingual platform here in Porto Alegre. And I'm holding a series of interviews with people who are bilingual, who lead a bilingual life, speaking two languages, especially the English language, which is a language that I work with. And this evening I'm talking to Vidal, Leonardo Vidal.
Hello guys.
Can you tell us a little bit about your relationship with the English language, as well as the other languages that you speak? I understand that you speak more than just English as well.
A couple of languages, but if I had to talk about being bilingual, I would say I'm just with English. It's confidence in the language, but I'm able to communicate. In English, in Spanish, in Portuguese, of course, and also in German. So.
I understand that you have a very close relationship with the English language because you also you were married to someone here in Porto Alegre, right? You were not married in Porto Alegre, I guess. Were you married? Did you get married here in Porto Alegre as well? But anyway, your wife is from Germany, and then you talk to each other in English. That is the language that...
Yes, that's our common ground.
Common ground.
I have a very close relationship with the English language since 12 years already. I learned English when I was 9. I had a first experience abroad when I was around 20. And when I finished the university, I was around 24, give and take. I moved to London for the second time, and that when my English skills, if you can call skills or abilities, or this living the language became more active. It became a part of my life, because for several reasons. One, because I spent 5 years living in London, and this helps a lot to improve. The second reason, which is connected to that, is because I was working all the time, and I was trying to avoid, in a good way, relationship with Brazilians and Portuguese speakers. So I was living all the time with my cousin, but because of family situation that led me to live with her, and made my life very comfortable. So, and I think it was something that was very good, because I was able to, I had a safe place at home, even speaking Portuguese, but I was most of the time out of my home place, my apartment, my flat over there, and always speaking in English. And of course, because of Andrea, Andrea is a German citizen, she's a German speaker. And we are together, as I said, for like 11 to 12 years already, and it's a good time. And it wasn't until...
Did you feel a bit strange when you started the relationship with her? Like, does it feel odd, or did it feel odd at the time that you were falling in love with someone in a language that was not your first language, the language that was not there when you were born? Do you see what I mean? Did it feel like, perhaps I cannot express myself quite well when I'm connecting to her in English? Did it ever feel like that?
I think I know what you mean, but not really. Not really, because it's something related to my personal life, But I had a previous. A love experience that was several years, and when it ended up, I decided that I didn't want that way. I want something different, And Andrea was really different. She was much
German.
No, she was not that, But she was closer to German, and she was closer than what I understood at the time. That still now, that would be a healthy relationship for me. So I was very lucky, in that sense, because she was very open-minded, as I am. She was a person that is not jealous, like you cannot do anything, you have to control your life, and that's the reason why it was always very
natural,
comfortable. I was always feeling safe and respectful, and it was a relationship where we were both growing and not trying to control or hold back the other.
I'm asking you this because I work with people that are trying to find themselves in this language, right, through English therapy. And sometimes I see that people find it hard to make even the simplest connections. making a friend, getting to see someone for who they are, and forgetting about the language.
Yeah.
And I guess that taking the relationship to a next level and connecting to them romantically as well must feel like a challenge to a lot of.
I think the first thing it's a bit. It sounds like very cocky, to say, but I think the first rule for this to make it happen, you have to be open-minded, and you have to be willing to live something different. Mm-hmm. Because in that case, for me, I wasn't having a relationship with the English-speaking girl. Mm-hmm. I was having a relationship with the German-speaking girl, which could speak English very well, the same as me. I was a Brazilian, Portuguese-speaking guy who could speak English.
Was language invisible to you? Just like
the language wasn't the problem, in that case. So the language was a tool to make it easier. So it's the other way around. It's like, it's hard for me to express how much I love her. Or of course, you cannot count love, can measure love. But how do I feel towards her? And no, there was not that. It's the language helped us. Because if I had to do it in German, I couldn't. If she had to do it in Portuguese, she couldn't as well. So the English language, it's simple in this way. It's easy to use. So for us, the language was something positive all the time. Mm-hmm. So I think that's answering to a question that you asked before. I think the English language for us, it was something that made us comfortable in our relationship. So
and you talk to each other in English all the time.
Till now.
So you work at the cafe because you have this beautiful place here in Porto Alegre, and we see that right from the moment we enter through the door, that you're interacting with each other in English. And this is one of the reasons I bring my clients here, because it has such a beautiful international, multicultural atmosphere, actually. And my question is, do you ever feel that if you're talking to her in Portuguese, which is a language that she speaks now because she's been living here for a while, do you feel that that's a bit odd. Strange?
It's odd, it's weird.
This is not us. Is it almost like it's not us?
Yeah. At the beginning, it was like this. Who's this girl? And why am I speaking Portuguese with her? If she doesn't, suddenly the girl that I'm with, she's not able to understand what I'm talking. That's the cool thing. And but then nowadays it's much easier for me to interact with her in Portuguese, because her level with the language, her confidence with the language is way higher than 6 months ago. The last 6 months, she's been here for almost 5 years, but the last 6 months was like skyrocket, her abilities with the language. But sometimes we mix, and we speak. For example, there are 2 words that we cannot use in English, and I send her a message on WhatsApp. One is boleto, when you're paying something, and the other one is nota fiscal. So I write the whole message in English, but these 2 words are always in Portuguese. And when she answers, it's the same, So it's complicated, but for us, it's our way of communication.
It's your
if I show it to
language,
somebody else, even if speak Portuguese or English or both, and they read the message, it's like,
it's a dialect.
Why? Yeah, we create our own shortcuts in the language.
Which is pretty normal.
Yeah, but I think that talking about being bilingual, but speaking about Andrea, it's like to have a business. We have a coffee shop here and a little market, and we work with organic, and there's a lot of people from all over the world that comes here. And Andrea,
it is a beautiful place.
Andrea has the challenge. Yeah, it is. Andrea has the challenge to speak to people that she doesn't know. And I had the same experience when I was in England, and then after in a harder way in Germany, because in Germany I went to a country where I couldn't speak at all the language. So I had to go to class in a very old-fashioned class style, learn verb by verb, word by word.
And do you feel that this helps? Or do you feel that just connecting with the other person that is speaking the language, let's say that you're talking to your father-in-law or your mother-in-law,
My
and
father-in-law doesn't speak.
it doesn't say anything at all.
Yeah.
Neither in German nor in English.
True
no,
story.
but I mean, do you feel that you're able to learn more if you just let go of trying to understand what the words are and the verbs are and prepositions are, and you just
for
connect?
Sure. 110%.
So you allow yourself just to experience the language. I'm here.
Yeah.
I have no idea what you're saying, but
I'm much more confident to talk this using my German experience than my English experience. English I learned when I was a kid, and it was something fun for me. So you're a kid, you're playing, and then when you see, you learn. No biggie, you know. But if the German language, I was already
an adult,
a grown up, you know. Finished my university, finished my master degree, and this is something else, you know. And to study in a university level in England for me was that give the last hoop, you know, and to write better, to communicate in a professional way, to write a paper, you have to read articles, and then I say, okay, now I'm fluent. Now I know what I'm talking about. You know. In German, I'm far away from that. You know, in German, when there, I had to learn the basics. You know, the articles. You know, if it's a feminine, if it's a masculine, if it's a neutral. And it was very in class, like this is if this is that, das Auto, die blah 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 blah. And for me, it doesn't work because it was very time-consuming, energy-consuming. I had to push something inside my mind that doesn't make sense, you know. And I had the help of my mother-in-law. She's a great woman, you know.
And I understand that she's also very good with this connecting.
No, she's fantastic.
Beyond
you know?
language.
She comes here. If you sit here, you can do the same interview with her. And you
even
both,
though don't speak any
you
German.
both don't speak the language, you know. But
and she doesn't speak English.
She should tell the camera and explain things, and you understand, you know. So that was good because she was always trying, you know. And every time I come back from class, she was like, hello Leo, blah, 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 how was class? And I knew what she wanted. But the best thing is that it was she was creating for me a safe place, a place where she wasn't concerned to correct me. She didn't give a damn, you know, if I was speaking wrong.
Which is pretty much what happens when you were a kid.
Yeah, her objective, you know, was like, look, this guy is married with my girl, you know, my daughter, you know. He's living in my house. I like him. She treats my girl well, you know. So I want to be able to communicate to him. So what can I do? And she just talk, you know, and then you learn that this is something else. This is you start to learn vocabulary, and then. Okay, then I moved to Munich. You know, she lives in the countryside. Then I moved to Munich, had a job in a hotel, talked to customers. You know, it was very hard because I had to talk on the phone. I was doing room service in a 5-star hotel, so there was no space for mistake. So I had to find a way to don't make mistakes with the menu. So basically, I had a good friend at the time, and I'm gonna ask her, say, look, I need your help. You know, she's like, no, I need you to tell me exactly. You need to simulate if you are a guest. Then you're gonna call me and you're gonna ask me things that are in the menu the way they ask you, because you already did this job. I said, well, why? So no, I need to know the keywords. So I knew that it is a schnitzel.
So you were building your own strategy, as I understand.
Yes.
It's just like
using
like
English.
Teach me. It's like make me go through what real.
And then
life
I learned
is.
because it makes sense. Because then after it's automatic, you know. But I didn't use Portuguese as the back language to help me. I was using English, you know. So because they hired me because I could speak English. You know, that was another bizarre fact, you know. And so for me, I knew all the menu by heart in English. So I just had to know how people order, what's the pattern there, and then I could do translation, you know. So it was horrible, you know.
So if I order something in German to you, you'll be excellent at that.
Yeah, I don't make a mistake if I know the menu, you know. If I know the menu, I make no mistakes, you know. And this was it was a strategy, but it was very bad. I was always exhausted because I had to translate things all the time. I lived in a translation world, you know, and they say something, I say, what's this in English? Okay, but for me, I didn't have to go from English to Portuguese, otherwise it'd be hell, you know, because I already knew English properly. But this is something very bad. There was difference in English, you know, from German to English, because in English it's like I mentioned this once to you, you know, this when I realized that I could
dream
in English, I still dream in English. It's very rare for me to dream in Portuguese, and I dream in English. I was like,
so would you say that let's say that your basic self, your standard self, your default version is English? So it's like when you're not operating anything, default version English. That's
I think I'm 45-45% English.
55
Portuguese.
English, 45% Portuguese. That's fascinating because that is what I find fascinating.
Most because of Andrea, For example, if I haven't had Andrea here, I would probably wouldn't have this place's connection of international people, because
you wouldn't
she's
have
not
me here interviewing you.
Probably would come here if this place existed, and you probably come here and speak, be another coffee shop, nice coffee shop, but speaking Portuguese. This is she's the connection. She's the thing that makes sense for me to speak English, because, as you said, we're in Porto Alegre. It's not a place it's not a touristic place that you need to
speak the language.
It's not a business city, Okay, you have business here, but it's not you know what I mean. It's not São Paulo. It's not Frankfurt.
And it's definitely not
Milan. It's Paris.
It is definitely not a bilingual environment, Porto Alegre. There are lots of schools, there are lots of people that can speak the language, but we don't have a bilingual culture. And that's what we're trying to change through Harmony & Co. Through Lavando Palavras, the seminars in which we talk about what being bilingual is.
To break a bit
through English therapy,
the
barriers,
process, speaking another language.
Exactly. And through the Cheese and Wine Co., which happens here at your place as well. All of that is an attempt to kind of ignite, to bootstrap a bilingual culture in town.
One thing, and the thing is, the timing it's perfect, because we have a generation of people like you and I, that had a chance to go abroad, spend some time, see things different, and come back, and give the value to the place where we are. I think Porto Alegre is a great place.
Exactly.
And it's a little bit abandoned, not very well taken care, but I think it's the responsibility.
Porto Alegre is a beautiful place.
It's a cool area, it's a cool city, and I see that a lot of businesses, new businesses like mine, Andrea, and mine business here at Vidal, it's very. You see that the owners they are from here, but they've seen things abroad and they brought here. And the need and the will to bring nice things to your hometown, and that's one thing that I'm doing. That's one thing that you're doing, the English therapy, all the events that basically happen here, and most of them, and I think that's really cool, because speaking another language for me is it's fascinating, It's my mom always says something, something that I don't feel sad for her, but it's something that it touched me when she said it. It's like, I would feel much better if I could just open internet and read things that they show on my timeline, for example, because there's a lot of articles in English that she actually need to wait for someone to translate for her to read, to have access to that information. And if you are bilingual, the more language you speak, the fastest you can get to the information, and to the source of the information, not to the translation. This is something that I'll highlight the invitation for Lavando Palavras, and the last one, was really cool, and we are actually one of the words was translation, and how this is something tricky, because the translation of something is...
you always lose something when you translate.
You lose something, and the way you translate is the way your personality, was another word for the day, the way you behave and the way you see the world, you're going to put this influence into the translation. And then once you read something which is translated, it's definitely not what the writer wrote. It is, of course, because but it's from the point of view from the translator, and just for that I think is already great, to be able. And then you want to watch a series, you can watch before, because
exactly, you're a bit more independent, and that's what people try to promote here. It's like you can you can travel, you can study more easily, you can do all these things. But I also like to think that we change fundamentally, emotionally, and in our identity when we speak another language. The fact that you can dream in English, and the fact that you can, when you're listening to a song, you connect those songs which are happening in your second language. The fact that you can connect this bit of culture which comes from a different country, and your life here gives you a sense of meaning in being bilingual. It feels good. It feels like
Makes sense.
Yes, language is transparent. I don't see English anymore. I see the song. I see the situation, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah. Anyway,
So that's it.
So-
I'd like to thank you very much for your
thank you.
time here and for sharing your experience with Harmony Co. And I'd like to invite everybody to come here, maybe have a chat in person with Vidal, because he's very fine with speaking the language, which is good.
It's nice to play with the language.
And we're fine with being bilingual. This is the thing. And so if you approach Vidal here and you start talking to him in English, it won't be a problem. It will actually be something fun, right? So do come at what is the address?
Mata Bacelar 52.
Yes, here.
If you're watching this video and you don't know the numbers, find us on internet.
Exactly.
Vidal Sustentável.
We'll post the address somewhere either up here or down here.
Like.
And like the video, share it if you're bilingual, or if you want a bilingual culture in town, like we do.
Just the last thing, is I think it's not a big deal, it's not something to, wow, you're a superior being because you speak another language, or you can't speak other language. It's just if you know a bit and you want to practice, just practice.
You have to deal with the emotion of it, even if you're not well articulated in the language.
And let's face it, that's just be frank, open, and which one of us, and whoever is watching this video is able to speak Portuguese 100% correct.
I can.
If you are
flawless.
Because I'm scared to speak English because I'm scared to make a mistake, Okay, so come here and speak Portuguese with me 100% correct, then I understand that you might be scared to.
Well, I'm not going to be friends with you because your past perfect is not quite right.
Yeah, that's bizarre.
I'm not going to do business with you. I'm not going to be your friend because you're not quite articulating that vowel well. So I think you should hire a teacher.
I don't like your accent.
You don't? Mine?
No, just pretending, Don't worry, I like your accent.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Congratulations for your...
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Where do I belong? Well, I suppose there